okay, there's a lot of in historical precedent where people have wanted to have kind of a national divorce. It's occurred in other parts of the country. It's well, it occurred to a very limited basis in other parts of our country. It's
In the
occurred in other
world.
countries throughout the world. But just how big is this really? I think people don't understand just how much all
Borders
of these
change.
borders and political divisions, how much actually changed. So we got a little quick video montage here. We'll go ahead and start it up here.
Yep. So for your friends that say it'll never happen or has no historical basis for happening, check this out. This is Europe from 1100s all the way up to present. Look at those borders as they flip and flop between countries. Heck, I don't even recognize this right now. I mean, I see a little France right there.
You got the Holy Roman Empire.
Holy Roman Empire was ginormous. You got the little boot. I don't even think that says Italy right there. Hungary, I think that's kind of stayed similar for probably the longest in this
Yep.
whole flip whole
Yeah, you
movie
got
so far.
got Bohemia there. You've got what is it, Lithuania, Hungary.
England has formed.
France has remained kind of consistent, and England has remained kind of
All right,
consistent.
right now we're into the Christopher Columbus era right there. Spain, Portugal was a big deal. Look at Russia. Check out Russia's borders. Poland is fairly large. It looks like it has Ukraine in it right now.
Yep.
The current Ukraine. Now look at Poland. It's all over the place.
And look at all those countries springing up where what was one area in Poland is now turning into all these other little countries.
We're only into 1700s right here.
Yep.
Okay, so now we're looking at rolling up on the American Revolution. France, Spain looks kind of similar to what we are today, but look at France's borders. It's still flickering on the outside.
Yep.
Spain is losing everything, coming back, losing everything, coming back. You got Hungary, you got the Ottoman Empire down there still messing around, shrinking, shrinking, shrinking. Russia's big, little, medium, big, little. This is a great representation. Now we're into the
70s.
current.
We just blew through the Second World War.
Now, if you asked anybody that had any history classes in the last 30 years, that's what they would have seen right there.
Yep.
So now let's look at North America. Check this out. Okay, this is pre Christopher Columbus, pre anybody exploring the New World. Iberian Union. Now we got France into the Canadian and New England states there with a little bit of England.
A little bit of Denmark in there.
So now we're up to almost 1700s.
Look at France.
France
France
is-
just spilled right in here and then just
Do you
took its
remember
time.
this in your history lessons that France dominated 75% of the geographical mass of what we know as the United States right now?
Yeah, they don't talk about it nearly as much as they should.
All right, because they didn't win, right?
Yeah.
It's they get to write their books. Check that out. All right. Now we got some of the Central American.
Yeah, we just blew right through the Civil War there real quick.
the
Now all these territories turning into states.
And here we are in current times, and it's still changing. Here we are, mid 20th century, and we still have some stuff flipping around in Central America.
Yep.
So there's another representation right there. Check this one out. This is an American. This is blowing up only American. How it changed. L.A. territory or Louisiana territory. Missouri separates from that.
You got Oregon country, then Oregon territory.
Look at Minnesota. Look at Utah. Nebraska shrinks down into a fifth of the size it was originally. That is crazy. Is that not the craziest thing? Who are you to say that the borders are going to stay the way they are now forever? I think that's a fool's errand.
Yeah, you could almost argue the point, how have they stayed as solid as they have
That's right.
for as long as they have?
I think that's probably the more realistic argument right
Yep.
there is how in the heck has it stayed that way for 100 years?
Yep. And now part of that is because, there's the reality that usually this will involve some type of conflict. And I would say as a general rule, overarching for the entire planet, so I'm including everyone, we have become a little bit more, I would just say, civilized to the extent we're not as willing to just, let's go wake up today and go kill a bunch of people.
You think the nuclear warheads have anything to do with that?
That does, yes.
Yeah,
That
little bit of deterrent.
After World War II, we suddenly reached the kind of the pinnacle of the ability to eliminate your enemy to the point of you are eliminating your enemy.
Right.
And
Right.
so it's not, the 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 death count now is not going to be in hundreds of thousands or even millions, but multiple of them.
So now that we've established that borders don't stay
Yep.
forever, there's no law, there's no universal or natural law that says borders need to stay forever. So now that we've established that, what are some potential maps that could come out of this national divorce?
Yeah, Evan did a lot of research in this and found several, and these are not.
These are not proposed.
We're not proposing these or anything. These are just
some
ones that are out there.
that people have thought up and based off of criteria, data, statistics, etc.
And the first one we're going to pull up here, go ahead and pull this up to full size here. This one was actually created by a Russian professor who predicted how the U.S. will split. And this isn't necessarily that the U.S. is going to split into subdivisions of U.S. properties. There's a lot of assumptions here that, for example, on the western seaboard, the divided states, the California Republic, will be part of China or under Chinese influence. The entire middle of the country, the Central North American Republic, part of Canada or under Canadian influence. The entire Northeast may join the European Union.
I can see that happening.
I can, yes. And then you've got the entire Central and Southeast. The Texas Republic will be part of Mexico or under Mexican influence. And then Alaska will go to Russia. So this Russian professor basically is essentially saying that we're going to subdivide to the point we're going to completely lose our national identity. So that's one.
That's interesting.
So,
Number two. All right. So this one is a political scientist rendition of what he sees it breaking up as. What I like about this map and what I see as being likely is the coastal California running down into Arizona and possibly even New Mexico and grabbing that blue area of Colorado as one state. I see that, but the one thing I do see as being that they left out here, I see that leaking up into Oregon and the Washington state up there for the bond between those coastal states. I do like how they include Idaho, Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, all those Midwest states. I see them, if something happens, they're all going to stay together.
Yeah,
they're all going to stay together no matter what happens, and it might even leak over through Iowa and catch the rural parts of Illinois, in my opinion. But Texas, like we talked about before, is clearly able to stand on their own. In this rendition, they kind of see Texas and Oklahoma doing an alliance and doing their own thing, which is both somewhat likely and maybe not. You'll see in a couple of the maps later that they kind of do that whole southern seaboard thing. But this is an interesting map to look at too. Let's look at the next one. So this one, this is what I see as likely. This is what I see a landmass separating. If it split into two, like liberated states of America versus and the Pacific states of America, as they would. I don't even have a geographical example of two completely continental separated areas kind of being together with that big red swath down through the middle. But this is how I see it. This is how I see it going, something like this. I see California, New York, and Michigan and Illinois breaking away, and then some of the other red states saying, hey, I want to be a part of you. Don't leave me here with a bunch of these rednecks.
Yep.
Right? So I'm sometimes inclined to think that it'll be a two-country solution if we were to go this route.
Yeah, I could kind of see that. Now, they kind of have that split up to where there's a couple different geographies, but I think the intent of this, by using the colors, is to kind of show the overall mindset that there would be a couple distinctions as far as the geographies.
Right.
So you'll have not just two geographies, they've got like 3 or 4, but the government would be kind of centralized amongst those. So
this is assuming that breaks are happening along state borders.
Yes.
Which is highly,
very unlikely.
yes, thank you. That's a better way of saying it. It's to think that states, a state like, let's say, Illinois, who if you take or if you take Chicago out of Illinois, it's red.
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually,
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. So this one is just another example. I'll go ahead and pull this up here. There again, this is just kind of split, and there again, very much going by state geographies, and this is just showing some different geography areas. There again, I think the likelihood of having these nice clean borders at state lines, very unlikely.
Right.
But for from an overall perspective, I kind of see where they're going as far as the different mindsets.
Well, this map is not actually made up for somebody for succession. It's actually just broken up nicely. It's an actual
some different regions.
It's a
yes.
geography map that actually breaks it up kind of nicely for this talk.
Right,
so,
and but I could see this though as
yeah.
being a likely scenario, because having been to a lot of those different states, there is some similar mindsets in there.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are some differences. I mean, obviously you've got like Illinois and Michigan, Wisconsin, and Ohio all
Right.
lumped together. That probably wouldn't happen.
Right,
Ohio would
right.
probably go
Crater
down
in the middle, like down 71, and
yeah, probably Ohio will just cease to exist.
Yes.
Let's be honest.
let's go to the next one.
Okay, so and that brings up, those were some of the main kind of artist conceptions of what it might look like, but really, how would it work? I mean, there's a lot to put into this, and the first one I'm going to go to, just the question: would it break into 2 countries, 5 countries, 50 countries? Would each state become their own?
Well, if history's an indicator, look at USSR to Russia.
Yeah.
What'd that break it? Was it 16 or 13 countries?
I don't remember the exact number, but well, we'll just look at that historical perspective. How you had these larger land masses, they split up into dozens of little countries. So, I mean, it's really hard to say. But I hope you've enjoyed this clip from the Craig's Gun Channel Random Shots program. The program airs Thursdays at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. On Random Shots, we discuss content from ranging anything from preparedness, survival, politics, firearms, basically anything that's 2A related, with sometimes some rabbit trails on things that aren't related at all. If you enjoy this type of programming, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you're notified when we release new content. And if you like it, hit the like button and share us if you would as well. It helps the algorithm and helps the channel grow and helps get our message out. So I guess until next time, stay safe.